All right, check it out. I'm about to fill you in on one of the top, I'm telling you for real, one of the top ways to learn math. It's one of the things I heard when I was still in school, but I didn't really try it. But now I know it's the real deal. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into it. All right, now, this way of learning math that is hands down one of the top ways of learning or to learn math rather is by teaching it yourself. All right, now, so I know that may have turned some people off immediately, but give me a chance to explain. Teaching math will help you to understand the same math. Now, like I said, I actually remember hearing this whenever I was in, maybe grade school or at least college, but I never tried to teach it because it didn't really make sense to me. But I tell you what made it make sense to me. What I do on this channel, what I do with my business, Math Swap Tutoring, tutoring did. Tutoring. Because here's the deal. As an engineer, of course, I took the various maths in high school up to calculus, and I took all the calculus classes and the engineering calculus classes and the science calculus class. I took a lot of math. But when I began to tutor math, I discovered, even though I did very well in math throughout school, I discovered that I understood the stuff I learned in high school, especially better after tutoring it. When I went through, especially some of the math, like geometry was a math that I had a little more difficulty in high school. But especially when I went back through it, some of the stuff made more sense to me. It kind of made me like, okay, so why didn't I understand this before? It's something about having that other exposure to math. Here's the deal, and I've heard one of my favorite podcasters, Alex Hormozy, talk about this before in some way. But think about this. So, say for example, you were trying to draw like a vehicle or something like that, and you were looking at it from one vantage point. Um, but then you decided to maybe go around another part of the car, or maybe you decide to sit on top of a ladder and look at it from the top. I know it sounds random, but just feel me. Changing your perspective can help you to see stuff a different way. Okay, and so literally, what happens is if the math is right here, and you're usually sitting on this side where you're hearing somebody instruct, and you're trying to understand it from there, you shift seats and you begin to learn the math by trying to understand it well enough to instruct somebody else. Now, again, especially if you're having an issue with really fully understanding it, this may not seem to make sense. However, all you really need to do is to try to teach somebody else. Maybe if you're in grade school, maybe you can get one of your parents or a sibling or a friend to sit across from you, and you like, hey, let's see if this makes sense. And you explain to them whatever it is that you're partially understanding but needing to understand more. Trust me, it works. It works. For example, whenever I was tutoring geometry, a geometry student last year, and haven't had a lot of geometry students. Matter of fact, that may have been my first geometry student, the one I tutored last year. So I was a little nervous going into it, even though I came out of that class with a high B in high school, 89. But um, when we got into proofs, which were like the most intimidating thing to me in high school, I understood them more. They made a lot more sense as I began to explain them to the student. And so again, I'm telling you, take it or leave it. Something about changing seats, something about changing your perspective, about kind of trying to understand in a totally different manner. It helps your brain to kind of connect some things, and it helps it make more sense. If you're somebody who's learned this by experience that by teaching something, you can understand it better, put a comment down below. Or if you have any questions about teaching or something like that to help yourself to understand math, put that below in the comments as well. I'm telling you, it works. If you're gonna try it, I want you to comment, I'm gonna try this, Sean. Okay? Have a good one. Hey, thank you for watching this video. If you need math tutoring or you need SAT math help, look in the description to find out how you can sign up today. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you stay in touch with Math Swap Tutoring on YouTube. Have a good one.